Canada, the land of vast opportunity, untapped potential, and endless debates about pipelines. For years, the dream of connecting Alberta's energy to the world has been tangled in politics, protests, and promises. But today, something shifted. Mark Carney, the man some call Canada's most calculated mind, just dropped a hint that could change everything. At a sleek luncheon on Bay Street, surrounded by Canada's most powerful business leaders, Carney leaned into the microphone, and almost said too much. "Don't worry," he told them, "we're on the pipeline stuff." A ripple went through the room. Reporters froze. Cameras zoomed in. The crowd waited for him to finish. And then, with that trademark Carney half-smile, he said the words that sent Ottawa into a frenzy. "Well, something's going to happen. Let's put it that way. That's it. Just that." But those few words, "something's going to happen," were enough to ignite a political wildfire across Canada. Was this a hint? A leak? Or a strategic signal to the markets that a new era of Canadian energy dominance was about to begin? Because remember, Mark Carney isn't just another politician. He's the former governor of the Bank of Canada, the man who stabilized economies, the man world leaders call when things fall apart. If he says something's going to happen, people listen. And this time, it's not about interest rates or carbon pricing. It's about power, energy, and the future of Alberta's oil. Across the country, in Calgary, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith could barely contain her excitement. She spoke to reporters, saying she was ready to sign a memorandum of understanding with Ottawa. Her goal? To bring Alberta's oil to the BC coast. That's right, a new pipeline. One that could bypass years of gridlock, legal challenges, and environmental standstills. Smith told reporters she hopes to finalize details soon, and even hinted that next week could bring major announcements. But Carney, careful as ever, played it cool. He reminded the Toronto crowd that Canada's environmental laws, the same ones critics claim block progress, aren't actually stopping big projects. Major energy sector projects are going ahead, he said, his tone calm but confident. We're in direct conversations with the province. Direct conversations. Behind closed doors. Between the Prime Minister's office and Alberta's energy executives. This is the kind of language insiders know well. It means deals are being drawn, numbers are being crunched, and signatures are being prepared. But what's really going on? Let's connect the dots. Carney has been walking a fine line since taking office. On one hand, he's seen as the architect of Canada's clean energy transition, the global climate finance leader. On the other, he's a realist. He knows that without oil and gas, Canada's economy stumbles. So what if, just what if, Mark Carney has decided to do what no prime minister before him could do? Unite climate ambition with energy expansion. A pipeline that isn't just a pipe, but a symbol of Canadian resilience. Sources close to Ottawa whisper that the project could be tied to a new hybrid model, a pipeline carrying oil, but with integrated carbon capture technology from day one, aligning Alberta's energy exports with Canada's carbon goals. It's bold. Risky. But it's exactly the kind of big-picture play Carney is known for. Now, think about this. For years, Ottawa and Alberta have been locked in a cold war over energy. Environmental laws from the Trudeau era created deep divisions. Companies fled. Projects stalled. Alberta felt abandoned. But now, Carney, the man who once managed billions for the world's largest banks, is stepping into that chaos with a plan that bridges both worlds. And here's where things get interesting. Industry insiders in Calgary claim that Carney's finance team has been quietly working with a major Canadian bank to structure the funding for this new pipeline. It wouldn't rely on public money alone, instead, a blend of private investment and federal backing. A public-private partnership on steroids. Why? Because Carney knows optics matter. A pipeline that looks like a government bailout would be political suicide. But a pipeline that attracts billions in private capital? That's smart politics, and even smarter economics. Now, here's the twist most people missed. When Carney said, "We're on the pipeline stuff," he wasn't just reassuring business leaders. He was sending a message to international investors: Canada is open for energy business again. The world is facing an energy crunch. Europe is desperate for stable oil supplies. Asia is hungry for long-term contracts. And the US? It's too busy with its own internal politics. This is Carney's opening. A Canadian energy corridor that puts the maple leaf back on the global stage: clean, responsible, reliable. And here's the kicker: this isn't just about Alberta. If this project goes forward, it could connect to future hydrogen lines, carbon pipelines, and export terminals. A multi-use energy corridor, the backbone of Canada's next-generation economy. Think about that. A single pipeline that carries not just oil, but the promise of transition itself. Critics will howl. Environmental groups will protest. Opposition parties will demand details. But Carney's move is pure chess, not checkers. He's thinking 5 steps ahead. Because while others debate ideology, he's building infrastructure. Now, remember what Danielle Smith said: she's ready to sign an agreement as early as next week. That's lightning speed in political terms. Which means the discussions aren't starting, they're finishing. Behind the scenes, Carney's energy advisors have reportedly been in constant talks with Alberta's top producers, the Pathways Alliance, the same group leading Canada's carbon capture megaproject. It's all connected. The pipeline. The carbon capture. The climate goals. One vision, one strategy, to redefine Canada's place in the global energy map. So when Carney smiled and said, "Something's going to happen," maybe he wasn't being cryptic. Maybe he was giving us a warning. Because if this pipeline does get greenlit, it won't just be a Canadian project, it'll be a continental one. American investors are already circling. Asian buyers are watching. And here's where the suspense deepens. Some industry whispers suggest the proposed route could revive parts of the defunct Northern Gateway Corridor, a project once killed by Trudeau's government. Imagine the symbolism: Carney resurrecting a buried dream, but on his own terms. Clean. Efficient. Politically bulletproof. A pipeline that's not just a tube of steel, but a statement that Canada can balance climate leadership with energy dominance. Mark Carney knows that to lead globally, you must first build credibility at home. And this pipeline, could be his legacy project. The room in Toronto fell silent after his remark. Not because of what he said, but because of what he didn't say. Something's going to happen. And when Mark Carney says that, you can bet it's already in motion. So buckle up, Canada. The quiet revolution in energy policy may have just begun.